So you know the climate emergency is real when even staffers on Capitol Hill are doing mass demonstrations over it. So this morning, a group of staffers staged a sit-in in Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's office, a demonstration that did end in their mass arrest. So here they are. They've got a banner that says, "Keep negotiating, Chuck, climate policy now." Now, this might seem surprising coming from staffers, but this is not the first thing that they've done. This is not a warning. They had a warning shot before, we'll get into it. But when they spoke to the media, the staffers said this: look, we, the staffers of US Congress, peacefully are sitting in on Senator Schumer's office to demand Dems pass climate justice policy this year. We see the impacts of climate crisis in our homes, home communities, and the constituencies we serve, and we refuse to be complicit in the enormous suffering and devastation around the world that will result from not passing climate justice policies this year. Our country is nearing the end of a 2-year window that represents a once-in-a-generation opportunity to pass transformative climate policy. We will not remain silent while we watch the environmental catastrophe unfold before our eyes. Greenland lost enough ice over 3 days to have put Manchin's home state of West Virginia under a foot of water. These climate disasters will have long-lasting impacts even when we are gone. So here they are getting arrested over that stance that they are taking, over sitting in Senator Schumer's office. And granted, this isn't an inside job from the GOP. This is not their staffers. These are Democratic staffers, right? These are young people and who are generally, when you get a job in Washington, you wanna behave, you wanna do the right thing, you want your boss to like you and promote you and all this. And so it's saying a lot that these staffers are like, you know what? I'm the one fielding the calls. I'm the one doing the work. I'm the one seeing the legislation sitting idly on Senator Schumer's desk. I'm the one seeing Manchin block it at every point and turn with a new excuse that he's pulled out of thin air. It's time. And so lastly, before I go to you, Ray, this is not the first time that they've done something like this. So just last week, they wrote a letter to Biden, President Biden and Chuck Schumer. 165 congressional and executive agency staffers demanded that you quote, take ambitious assertive action before the end of July to address the climate crisis. Not a lot of time left. And that came just 2 weeks, after congressional staffers first sent a letter to Schumer and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, demanding they reach a deal to pass the clean energy tax credits. And then just days after they sent that letter, Manchin told Democratic leadership after weeks of negotiation, he would not support a reconciliation bill that included climate spending. That's right, he doesn't like it, he's done with it. We'll get into more of the politics later, but Ray, I wanted to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's good. I've seen a lot of pushback against it from, Democratic establishment type people saying, well, why aren't you protesting the GOP? Why aren't you protesting Joe Manchin? Which is honestly quite an embarrassing admission, because you are acknowledging that Chuck Schumer as a leader is just as feckless and impotent as the Democratic Party has shown itself to be at every single turn, and admitting essentially that they are not as powerful as the minority party in the Senate or a single senator. Yeah. And that's embarrassing. It's deeply embarrassing. He's supposed to be the leader and he can't get his party whipped into shape, which is a problem we did not see with Mitch McConnell. Of course, he was doing that for objectively evil, to pass objectively evil legislation and destroy democracy in our country. But that's the type of leadership, the type of whipping the party into shape that we need to be seeing from Chuck Schumer, that he's just not doing. He's too afraid to lose, and he won't even take up the fight in the first place. So they're there demanding that he tries, because there's so many things that he can do, him and the president can do alone, that doesn't require, votes from Republicans or Joe Manchin, that they're just not doing.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah, and it honestly, these are folks who see things from the inside, right? They understand that there is more room for pressure on someone like Joe Manchin, on the Republicans. Frankly, they see that, so they've got an inside view that we don't all have, right? So if they're raising the alarm, then we're all right to be raising it as well. Let's jump down and look at, Schumer, his response. He said that he would move forward, but not with the climate bill, but with a healthcare only reconciliation bill, saying that they would make a renewed push for the climate spending after July's inflation numbers are published. Who wanted July's inflation numbers published? President Joe Manchin. I'm sorry, Senator Joe Manchin, whose entire state would be underwater if Greenland melted over it. If what Greenland just melted over, you know what I'm saying? So here we are. Schumer is bowing down to Manchin's will and his bad faith negotiating tactics. I'm not saying the healthcare portion of the reconciliation bill isn't important. We're talking about extensions of the ACA credits, and we're talking about the ability to negotiate Medicare prices on pharmaceuticals, which is long overdue. But why do we keep on having to bargain and settle for less and less and less? And who knows, okay, maybe we'll take out the Medicare negotiations on the pharmaceuticals and we'll just do the ACA extension. We won't extend it for 2 years, we're just extend it for 1 year. Pick the issue. Abortion rights, climate change, healthcare. We're constantly being told to settle for less and that we shouldn't demand more because Senator Manchin's gonna get mad. But let's stick with climate stuff, right? Because last week Biden didn't do nothing. Interestingly, right? He declared a series of executive actions. He stopped short of that national emergency declaration. But the announcements included new funding for cooling centers and pushing for new offshore wind projects in the oil-rich Gulf of Mexico. Still, the actions fall short of demands by Democratic lawmakers and environmental activists who want Biden to formally declare a climate emergency, which would enable the use of the Defense Production Act to ramp up production and a wide range of renewable energy products and systems. Yes, so you with emergency powers get access to a bunch more leverage. And what is the point of creating a wind farm in the Gulf of Mexico when it's right next to a brand spanking new oil rig that your administration just signed off on? Like, what are we doing here? I mean, we really are, completely screwing ourselves. We're actively working against the things we say we're working for. He can do things like just stopping offshore drilling, reinstating the crude oil export ban, a number of CO2 limits. Yes, we understand that the EPA has been hampered by SCOTUS, but there are ways around that ruling. In fact, what it says is basically you don't have to obey it if you say this is an emergency, and we're under this emergency. I'm gonna have some new powers. Ray, final thoughts on this?
Yeah, just want to also say one thing that Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer can do is strip Joe Manchin of his committee seats in his committee assignments, because he is currently the chairman for the Committee on Energy and Natural Resources, which is a disaster. If you want to pretend that you give a damn about the climate, then maybe you shouldn't have the face of big oil in the Senate chairing the committee that is making those types of decisions on what pieces of legislation are even put to a vote. Like that is a disgusting nightmare from the Democratic Party. Do something about that first.
Yeah, the man is literally head to toe in just like coal soot. Like that's, and you're like, oh yeah, he seems like a good guy. Let's not button paid at all. No, it's incredible what the fossil fuel industry has gotten from investing in Manchin and what he in turn has gotten from investing in the fossil fuel industry. To all of our detriment. So good on those staffers. I think it's incredible, and I hope they keep it up, as well as people outside of Congress.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.